South Park creators signed massive new $900 million deal with Viacom to create a South Park universe. That's right, a universe of expanded characters. I'm sure they're going to have continuity. There's no such thing as a universe without some continuity. In 14 movies. If you've seen their first movie that came out in 1999, they haven't had any new movies since, but they're coming back and they're doing 14 new full-length movies to build out a South Park universe. That's amazing. Why is it amazing? Because it's a huge, huge expansion of South Park, one of the most popular animated series of all time. And a universe with multiple characters interacting and continuity is extremely cool. And why am I talking about this? Because I'm Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and a creator of a comic book universe called the Triumphant Universe featuring Chromium Man. Let's get into this cool article. This is coming from Bloomberg, and it's an extensive article. I like it a lot. The creators of South Park have signed a new deal with Viacom CBS that will pay them more than $900 million over the next 6 years in one of the richest deals in TV history. Now, the $900 million is not all just going into their pockets. It's going to cover production costs. I'm sure they're making a ton of money out of it. Let's see what the article says. Trey Parker and Matt Stone will use the money to make new episodes of South Park for Viacom's Comedy Central network and to create several spin-off movies for the company's Paramount Plus streaming service, the party said Thursday. Their first project under the new deal will be a movie set in the world of South Park that will debut sometime before the end of the year. So these guys, they don't mess around. And what's interesting about them with their South Park shows is they produce them very quickly. And they produce them in a studio, and they produce them with animation, CGI, cool inventory resources. So they're able to produce, kind of like manga, a lot of content very quickly and also collaboratively. It's not just one of these guys sitting down and writing it. They have a great team of people they work with to put stuff out. The deal with Parker and Stone is the clearest sign yet of Viacom CBS's growing commitment to Paramount Plus. Now, all the major studios are doing these streaming networks. I mean, not exactly every one of them, but nearly all of them. HBO Max, Disney obviously with Disney Plus, Discovery did Discovery Plus, great name, and now they're going to merge with Warner Media. So why are they doing these direct-to-consumer platforms? Because that's the future. The future is the direct-to-consumer relationship. It always would have been that way if technology would have permitted it. Now technology permitted it, and people love these streaming services. They use them all the time. Everybody's got a few streaming services they subscribe to. So everybody who's producing content has to be in that business, or they have to get out of the business. The streaming service trails the likes of Netflix and Disney Plus, of course, but has added millions of subscribers since it rebranded in March. Viacom, and adding a plus to the end of your streaming service name, I think it's perfect. It just works. Disney Plus, HBO Max, they need to throw a plus on there. Discovery Plus, throw a plus on there. It's going to be worth it. You'll love it. Viacom CBS is looking to the addition of South Park movies to accelerate its growth. From their standpoint, can Paramount possibly lose money on this deal? Of course not. The series remains the most popular TV show on Comedy Central. Chris McCarthy, President and Chief Executive Officer of MTV Network Group, approached Parker and Stone about extending their deal with Comedy Central and getting some South Park programming that would be exclusive to Paramount Plus. The company's current strategy is to use its biggest hits on cable to lure customers to its streaming services. Pretty sensible. Earlier this year, McCarthy signed a new deal with Taylor Sheridan, the creator of hit show cable Yellowstone, to create a spin-off show that will stream on Paramount Plus. Why not? At the end of June, Viacom had more than 42 million subscribers across its streaming services, which include Paramount Plus, BET Plus, and Showtime. As giant media and technology companies compete in the streaming wars, the value of franchises like South Park has soared to record heights. Few, if any, production teams have managed to capitalize on the changes in the home entertainment landscape better than Parker and Stone, who own 50% of all online rights to the show. How awesome is that for those guys? It didn't start out that way. They made a deal. They got a deal. Because online stuff, even just YouTube and all that, That started long after South Park was created. South Park is running a really long time. So as technologies develop, you need to make new deals with talent. Now, another thing is, of course, the reason why the value of these is so great online is because a hit justifies its own distribution. If you have a hit property, people will go look for that hit property. If you have just kind of a generic property, people are not going to go and search out a generic property. So a lot of shows that are just like watchable shows, you might watch a show like on Discovery Plus. Discovery has tons of, they call it non-scripted, but it's reality show programming. And you could sit there and watch reality show programming, but there's no reality show programming really like a South Park or like Marvel has on Disney Plus, where people are going to go seek out that content. It doesn't exist in reality show programming, which is why Discovery Plus doing a deal with Warner Media is a great deal for Discovery, and it's great for Warner Media too. Back to the article. In their new deal, which runs through 2027, it covers more than 6 cycles of South Park and includes 14 made-for-streaming movies. Quote, "We did a deal for a South Park movie in 1999, and we've never done another one because the show has been so satisfying," Stone said in an interview from his home in New York. "Now we're older, and the idea of streaming movies can be pretty promising. Less censorship." When Parker and Stone first created South Park based on a short film they made in college, they were nervous that nobody would watch, or alternatively that they'd be run out of town due to its outlandish humor. But the show, which debuted in 1997, was an instant hit, delivering millions of viewers and putting Comedy Central on the map. By the 3rd season, they had stopped getting any notes from the network on how to improve it. Yeah, South Park was very innovative at the time, and the only other thing that would have been in that realm of unique would have been Ren and Stimpy, which is also an amazing original show. "We do whatever we want, and they're pretty much supportive of it," Stone said. "We're the luckiest guys in TV that way." South Park has now been on the air for 24 years, making it one of the longest-running series in TV history, outliving every program on Comedy Central except for The Daily Show. Along the way, Parker and Stone have maintained the quality of the series, not to mention their sanity, in part by sticking to a schedule. They only make between 6 and 10 episodes a year. Each season is produced over the course of a few months in Los Angeles. I want to tell you, as an independent publisher, sticking to the discipline of a schedule of releasing regular new content every month, which is what we did, was incredibly important for just basically knowing what to focus on and being able to get regular material out and not go crazy, and also be forced to be constantly creative. Definitely a great idea to stay on a schedule in whatever way you can. The onset of the pandemic upended their routine. Last year, Parker and Stone did not produce a new season of South Park. They did manage to produce a pair of specials, which inspired them to think through some bigger ideas for South Park. They hadn't made a movie since 2004's Team America World Police, but what if they made a bunch of longer-form South Park episodes? And they've done that sometimes. It was Imagination Land, I think, was 3 episodes, with a larger story that also could stand alone, but definitely were interesting, more put together. Stone is reluctant to use the phrase cinematic universe. That's what they're doing. A term worn thin by Marvel and many imitators, but in many ways, that is what that is what Parker and Stone are now creating. The coming Paramount Plus movies will expand on the existing world of South Park and introduce new concepts and characters. Very cool. Parker and Stone have always seen themselves as part independent filmmakers, part entrepreneurs. Early on, they were quick to recognize the power of the internet. While negotiating a new deal with Viacom in 2007, Parker and Stone proposed creating a website where fans could watch recent episodes of the show for free. Stone credits the resulting site, South Park Studios, with keeping their younger fan base engaged while also curbing piracy. As part of that arrangement, negotiated by their longtime lawyer Kevin Morris, Parker and Stone secured a 50% stake in all future online deals for the show. Their stake, once worth pennies, is the basis of Park Country, a company which they own outright, which is now valued at more than $1 billion. That's pretty good. Parker and Stone eventually shut down South Park Studios when Viacom licensed the streaming rights for the show to Hulu in an $87.5 million deal. Hulu later re-upped that agreement for about $110 million. In 2018, the streaming rights to South Park once again came up for auction. At the time, Viacom was in the process of merging with CBS, which operated All Access. the streaming service that would later be rebranded as Paramount Plus. HBO Max swooped in and outbid All Access, offering $500 million over 5 years. $500 million for 5 years. And then in a couple of years, that's going to be up again. They get more money. And it'll probably wind up on Paramount Plus now, with Paramount Plus having been more developed with more subscribers that could justify not selling rights but keeping it internally. The deal with HBO Max sent one of Viacom's most popular shows to its fiercest streaming competitor. It also increased the value of South Park Library to a level few shows ever reach. Quote, "That was one of the better things that happened in our financial life," Stone said. "We took it to market and established its worth. That's rarely done right now." And that's a big challenge for creators, because if you're dealing with a major studio, they will snap their fingers at any moment and decide, hey, let's change the distribution of this from one place to another place, like was done with the recent Black Widow lawsuits. And now you've got studios deciding like, well, we control all the distribution, so we'll tell you what it's worth. And then there's all sorts of battles. The Walking Dead has a new battle with that. The Frank Darabont one got settled for $200 million plus future share in revenues with Frank Darabont. But now Robert Kirkman has started a new lawsuit or has made new claims because of Frank Darabont's success. The team at Park County is now focused on their next big deal overseas. Over the years, Viacom has licensed the rights to South Park to different streaming services in different territories, a hodgepodge of arrangements that currently generates more than $10 million a year in sales. Park County's chief financial officer, Keith Pizzi, is aiming to consolidate everything into one massive overall deal for the international streaming rights. Why would he do a thing like that? Because $10 million a year, for another thing that they did domestically, where they're basically getting $100 million a year, is 10% of the domestic a realistic share for the international? Not really. It should be at least 3 times that, right? So Keith's right on it. Earlier this year, that's what a CFO does, by the way. They figure out how to get the most out of the assets and keep the books straight, and financing, such as this. Earlier this year, Stone and Parker established a $600 million credit facility. That's a loan that they can draw against with an investor, with HPS Investment Partners, LLC. That appraised their library at close to $1 billion, according to people familiar with the terms of the deal. In addition to the movies for Paramount Plus, Parker and Stone are going to use that money to invest in a wide range of creative endeavors, including a documentary series, a weed company, and can you imagine a South Park weed company? I don't know if it's going to be branded South Park or not. They don't say. And a 3D video game that is set in the world of South Park. Stone and Parker are also currently building a team of deepfake artists. Of course they are. Who specialize in creating media in which an image that looks like a real person is inserted into an existing video clip. They've spent the past couple of years working on a deepfake movie, one of several films they have in development, including a musical. South Park pays the bills and then some, Stone said. Trey and I have used that cash to pay for other stuff we want to do. Stone said the long-term plan is to sell their stake in South Park as well as other assets like the Book of Mormon. In the current frenzied market, such a package would likely fetch a high price. Recently, Reese Witherspoon sold a majority stake in her production company, Hello Sunshine, to a new firm run by former top Walt Disney Company executives in a deal valued at $900 million without any assets on par with South Park changing hands. That was interesting. They got a lot of money because the Walt Disney Company guys are trying to create a big entertainment company, and to do that, they need existing content and production resources. So content is king. We're proud of the fact that years ago we said, let's put the show online and build that audience, Stone said. What a great time to be an independent dealer. This is something we've worked on a long time, and life did come our way. They have done amazing. They are a great example for independent creators. Always own your content, control your content, make deals, but make the best deal you can and make sure you're always going to get future profits if something is successful. That's what these guys did, and that's what you should always do. Speaking of which, my current project is The Mermaids. It's shipping just about now. It's shipping very, very soon, in the next week. We'll have a few extra copies available. It is the story of a teacher joining a team of rebels determined to overthrow and kill a powerful mermaid queen. It is a mermaid universe in and of itself, actually. There are more than 30 characters in it. It's a huge winding story. It introduces so much, and we spent about me working with a bunch of guys and a couple of gals over 10 years or so put this together. Big project. And also you can check out College of the Dead. It's my ongoing zombie apocalypse series. All right, I'll see you again soon with another video, and if I don't see you, I will miss you.
Ha ha ha.